As any parent knows, trying to stop a child from whining can be like trying to catch fog with your bare hands. You can't just tell them to cheer up, you have to offer an alternative. Sometimes you may need a bit of imagination to get things done. Faced with the challenge of her grumbling 6-year-old Sasha, the author used a creative means to divert her daughter's attention. While waiting in line at the resort entrance, her daughter Sasha refused to quit her whining because she was bored and tired of the wait. Without panicking, the author chose to agree with her daughter Sasha. What was that agreement? Well, they decided to turn Sasha's grumbling sound into a song and playfully sang it while the time elapsed. In the end, both the author and her daughter laughed their way to their destination. Being a parent is never easy. Your kids will always be challenging to manage, but being creative while parenting makes life easier and helps you face challenges with your children. Toddlers are notoriously tricky to amuse, so parents often have to be creative in finding ways to keep their children occupied and entertained. Few trials are more daunting for many parents, particularly new ones, than trying to quiet one's screaming infant. The sleepless nights, the tears, and the exhaustion that comes from having a tiny baby crying for hours at a time can be enough to infuriate even the kindest of souls, but Sarah and her husband were prepared. Sarah's baby was having a hard time settling down one night. She tried making faces and playing with him, but nothing worked. She could tell her husband was getting frustrated, so they decided to try something else. The last thing they did was wave a toothbrush in the baby's face, and he suddenly stopped crying. It was their strategy to put the baby to sleep from that night on. For parents who have younger children, going a little further in your imagination could help solve problems with your child. Kids have most of their imagination when they are young, but as they grow old, they face many difficulties in their life. It is expected that children are more likely to be afraid of many things, such as the dark and animals. However, parents need not worry about the children's obstacles because there are some ways to hush the little one's overactive imaginations. The author gives a story on how her mother could put an end to her fears and actively wild imagination. As a young child, she was always afraid of tigers and avoided staying alone in her room because she feared one day a tiger would lurk behind her while she was sleeping. So her mother designed an animals not allowed sign to make her believe animals were not allowed in her room. While this may seem like the clumsiest stunt ever pulled, it worked and helped the author grow without the fear of animals. Of course, it's important to comfort your children when they're upset, but the best thing you can do is help them overcome their fears. The best way to deal with a child's fears is to create a brave child. Games are a great way to help them learn bravery by encouraging them to do things that make them afraid but need to try anyway. For example, if your child is scared of dogs, have them try playing with one. This exercise should start by gradually encouraging them to play with the animal, maybe for counted periods or working with them as they try.